Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to this week's live Path to Profit webinar. Welcome aboard to all of the newer students, either from Rock Thomas's M1 group or investors from other locations, and also new agents on board from different offices around US and Canada. Real quick, a little bit of admin. If you could please make sure you always look at the emails from Beverly, the ones that come out after the webinars, the day after. Not only has a recording of the webinar, it's yours to keep forever. Just download it. You can strip off the audio, make it MP3. But she also gives you very important instructions sometimes on updates we're making to the system or to the training platform or content. Also schedule for webinars and sometimes my schedule. So to give an example why that's important, tomorrow night I'm actually going to be in Ancaster, Ontario, right outside of Hamilton, Ontario, maybe an hour outside of Toronto, helping some of our students do a special event for their tribe. And as long as I know when and where that's happening, anytime you're doing one of those guys and I'm within earshot or an hour or two drive, I would love to come and visit you and speak to your group if you like. It doesn't cost anything. It's the pleasure I get to do this for being able to be a teacher. And if it helps you, it's everybody wins. So in any case, look for those emails, okay? Also, without further ado, we do have a special guest tonight. His name is Devine. Brian is in a mastermind group that I'm in, together with a lot of other people from different industries. And the reason I wanted to have Brian on board tonight as a special guest is he has a marketing business where he caters to dentists and soon-to-be orthodontists. So the subject is really related to, how do we attract these folks? What do we say to them? How do we speak to them to get their attention? And Brian, of course, makes his living serving these folks. So I do ask a favor of you, for all of you who are on here, please refer your personal dentist or orthodontist or chiropractor, for that matter, to Brian. Brian is going to give you his contact information at the end. So if you have a dentist or chiropractor or orthodontist that would enjoy a booster in their business, Brian's the guy to go to. He's the go-to guy in North America for this. So we're glad to have him on board to share his knowledge with us. And then without further ado, Brian, welcome aboard, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you're a busy guy, and I think I speak for everybody when we say welcome aboard, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Gary, for that introduction. I really do appreciate it. And everyone that is here tonight, I put together this presentation based on the conversation that I had with Gary, and if there's more, if you want to dive a little deeper into any of this, I am happy to do that. So please ask questions as we go. And Gary, you're gonna keep me up to speed as the questions come in, and don't feel like you can't interrupt. I love going back and forth and having more of a conversation than having me just kind of talk at you. So let's get right into it. This is going to be fun because dentists are a unique breed, but they're not all that different from everybody else. So my experience, I've worked with dentists and orthodontists now for, gosh, I'm at 16 years now. And so I know this market inside and out, and so being able to talk their language I find is a huge advantage. So I want to make sure that I cover some of these real basic things, but then let's get into some of the more interesting stuff. And then as we go, like I said, please ask questions so that we can really dive deep and have some fun with it. So the first thing that I want to make sure that you are thinking about is that when you use their language, they will trust you. And so if you start to understand some of these basic little terms and you understand a few things about how they speak and how they think, then you're going to have a much easier time gaining their trust. And obviously we all know that if they know, like, and trust you, it's much easier to get them to move forward with what you would like them to do. So I'm going to cover some of the real basic stuff. And Gary, you can jump in if you want me to move along a little bit faster or slower, because I'm not sure kind of where everyone's starting. So I wanted to at least get some basics out. Is that cool?
Yeah, you just go ahead and just be yourself, be natural. And what I'll do is I'll look for some natural breaking point. Go to the questions. This group is really, they're pretty active, so you're gonna get some questions out of this.
Great, so, I love it. Okay, terrific. Yeah. So first, I think it's important that you know what DDS stands for. So if you're working with a dentist, one of the funniest things that I've seen happen in a direct marketing campaign to dentists. It was going to dentists and orthodontists, and chiropractors, and then general practitioners, actually MDs. And they said to dentists and MDs, and the dentists, of course, were pretty pissed off. So don't ever forget that they do have a doctor. So doctor of dental surgery, that's what the DDS stands for, in case you didn't know. Now, dentists versus orthodontists. This is something I think is important to understand because it is misunderstood across the country here in the U.S. And that is that all orthodontists are dentists, but they cannot practice dentistry. And all dentists are, actually, I should say dentists are not orthodontists, but they can practice orthodontics. Now that might seem really strange because you have to go through dental school and then go through between 2 and 4 more years of schooling to become an orthodontist. So they are dentists, but they're absolutely not allowed to practice dentistry once they become a full-fledged orthodontist. Dentists, on the other hand, don't have to go become orthodontists, but they can actually do everything that orthodontists are doing. They're just not trained the same way to do it. So hopefully that makes some sense. But if there's questions about that, this is something that most people don't know, and I think it's important to understand that difference, especially when you're talking about orthodontists. Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next one here. We have cosmetic dentists. It doesn't really mean what it used to mean. Any dentist can call themselves a cosmetic dentist. And it used to be that there was some very specific things that they did, some things that they learned, and once they did that, they can call themselves a cosmetic dentist. Today, because there's so much competition, they call themselves cosmetic dentists because there's value to it, and so they do that. And then finally, pediatric dentists. These are people that only work with children. They have a very special extended training in order to do so. So when you have a general dentist that says we work with children, they are not pediatric dentists. And generally, pediatric dentists won't work with anyone that is over the age of 18. So that's kind of how their office gets cut off. So far, so good?
Yep.
Awesome. So let's talk about the industry. There are more than 196,000 dentists in the U.S. as of 2016. Now, when I started almost 16 years ago, there were about 120,000. So this number continues to grow. So competition is getting fiercer and fiercer. 60.8 dentists working in dentistry per 100,000 U.S. population. So that's why things are getting tight. It actually used to be closer to 20. So it's really getting busy. 21% have a recognized specialty, and that means that the American Dental Association has actually recognized the specialty and given them a certification. So it's important to know if you're talking to a general dentist or someone that has gotten some kind of a specialty. I thought this was interesting, and if you're looking for people to invest, it's probably good to kind of know where this breaks out. 16% under the age of 35, almost 23% between 35 and 44, 21.3% between the ages of 45 and 54, and then 24% were between 55 and 64, and then finally over age 65. So that gives you a nice breakdown so you understand where people are, because if you're going to be trying to target them with any kind of marketing, this is really helpful. Let's talk about the average lifetime value of a new patient. This number is 8,000, and that is actually a really low number. Now, this is sort of across the board throughout the country, and it's probably different in Canada, so for those of you in Canada, I'm sure the number's different. But this is a very, very conservative number. When you go and do some research on the lifetime value of the patient, a lot of companies will include the idea that they're going to get referrals from those people. So for each one mom, you're going to get a family. So this number starts to get really big really fast. And so that's important to know as you kind of start talking with them. Sorry, I don't know why it says average. It's just the average cost of veneers. Sorry, my dog is barking at me.
Oh, that's okay.
So if that's distracting, let me know. I'll let her out. But I just don't want her barking at anybody else.
Yeah. We're good.
So,
I just want to ask you, I think you've had
a couple clients, a dentist that is from Canada too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and I apologize, I think when we spoke about this back in July, I probably didn't mention a lot of our guys are Canadians too, but that's okay. So if you have numbers on Canada too, share those. If not, maybe just shoot them in an email. I'll get them out to the folks from Canada. Ironically, I just spent like the entire month of August up here. I'm actually
Oh
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we've
That's
got
okay.
we've got quite a few clients in Canada. I don't know the numbers as well there, but you know, and Canada is slightly different as far as how things work. So if anyone, sorry, my office is in the front of the house, and of course somebody is knocking on my door.
Right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, I for real estate, everything is roughly about 10%. In other words, I'm actually here now. I live out of London, Ontario, part-time, at least during the warmer months. And I could get up to Montreal quite a bit, in Ottawa, and of course in the big city, Toronto. But you know, the cool thing is it's well, you probably noticed it when you serve these guys. It really is just about the same as it is in the States. I mean, how they practice, how they market and advertise are just like us, you know. So, I mean, in other words, just like realtors. Most of us are realtors on the phone here. Very few of us don't have a license, but they market and advertise just like we do, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which is why it's been a fun transition for me, to working both. I want to make sure that you guys also understand sort of the basic cost of things,
Yep.
because veneers can be up to $2,500 per tooth. So when you see advertising for that, then you know that they're focusing on things that are going to increase the value of their office. Implants are huge, and I don't know if you've seen this, but you can go from $1,000 per tooth all the way up to $4,500 per tooth. So the offices that are really focusing in the right place, they're getting a huge amount of income. So if you're looking at a lifetime value of a new patient of $8,000, and you have somebody that is focused on veneers and implants, then you know that number is jumping up real fast. Now, I do work with a lot of orthodontists, so cost of braces is important because off the top of my head, I thought of at least one or two doctors that I work with that I think should be investing in real estate but don't, and so I wanted you to know the basics of kind of what they are getting for a case, and we'll talk about some of the language when I talk about a case. But so for a treatment for braces for orthodontics, it's as low as $3,000 and as high as $11,000. Now, the reason for that gap is that on the low end, sometimes there's a child that just needs a little adjustment, and they're going to fix that up really early, and it's not very expensive. Then you might have a child that is going to need surgery, is going to need a lot of work. They're going to be kind of lining things up for a surgical case, and those can go up actually quite a bit higher than 11,000, but most of the time they're somewhere in that range. Now, if you're familiar with Invisalign, Invisalign is a sort of a clear, removable tray system for moving your teeth, and it's becoming more and more popular. And this can go as low as $3,500 and as high as $8,000. The reason that it doesn't go much higher than that is because Invisalign is limited as far as its capability. So it cannot do everything that braces can do, so that's why it won't go quite as high. But the cost of Invisalign is extremely high compared to braces, so they always have to charge a little bit for covering that cost. And then of course whitening. Those can go from free to about $900. And the reason for that is the free ones are generally going to be something that they're going to hand to the patient, where the patient can go home and treat themselves, all the way up to where they're going to have custom trays, they're going to sit in the office, they're going to have whitening done right there, and they're going to come out with these bright white teeth. And that's where it goes up to about $900. What's the point? I think the point of all this is that you want to work with the doctors that are doing more of this list on the top here. If you're talking with somebody that is talking about being a general dentist, they love being a general dentist, it is harder for them to grow the value of their practice, so usually their cash flow is not as good. So they can't, if you were to bring them a deal and they needed to be able to come up with an extra few $1,000s, If you have somebody that is doing implants, veneers, Invisalign, things like that, it won't take them very much to be able to put that together. Whereas if they're not doing as much of that, they're probably not as good of a candidate for investing. Does that make sense, Gary?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had a feeling that's where you're going with that, because you want to work with people. There's an old saying: if you want to have money, you got to work with people who have money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you want something done, ask somebody who's busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure you're looking at this kind of stuff. So if you want to be targeting this industry, you want to think about people that are doing this work because they have extra cash.
Yep.
Now in the orthodontic world for braces, they are dealing with a level of competition that they've never seen before, because dentists are now doing a lot more Invisalign. So remember when I started out by saying, let me back up here, that right here where it says all orthodontists are dentists but cannot practice dentistry, but dentists are not orthodontists but can practice orthodontics. So orthodontists now are competing with dentists for the same patient. So their world has definitely changed, which is why I'm as busy as I am. Because they have now gone from never having to do any marketing to they have to do a lot of marketing.
Right.
So that's why I know that industry, and I really like that industry, because you'll notice that their cases on the low end are $3,000. They don't have anything that's less than that, truly.
Right.
And their systems are all designed around bringing in at least 15 to 20 patients on the low end every single month. And some of these guys, they're going to be doing, and gals for that matter, they're going to be doing anywhere from 15 on the low end. Some of the people that we work with, they're doing 40 and 50 new cases, new starts, new treatment every single month.
Mm.
So do that math. they do well, and they don't always know what to do with that income. So that's why I like orthodontics in general. All right, let's talk a little bit about vocabulary, some of the basic things that I think is important for you to get used to. In dentistry and in orthodontics, they're going to refer to their clients as patients or guests. If you are talking to a real high-end cosmetic dentist, they're probably going to be talking about guests. So just kind of keep your ear open to that. And so you want to make sure that if you're going to do any marketing towards them, make sure that you're talking about patients or guests, but you're not saying clients or customers.
Okay.
This
and
one
the
is
higher ones are generally using the word guests more than patients. The ones
yes.
that are really
the real high-end cosmetic offices that are. I mean, like to give you an example, there's somebody that lives that works just down the street from us, and they have a mortgage broker on hand for their treatment, because they do full restoration. So you get a second on your home to pay for your treatment. So they do things a little bit differently. So they call them their guests. They have an amazing waiting room. I mean, it's a whole different experience. So if that's your target, it is good to know that a lot of them are going to be calling their patients guests.
Okay, good. That helps a lot.
Good. Staff is referred to as team. So if somebody says, well, my team, that they're talking about their staff. It can be used interchangeably. They're not going to be offended if you say something about their staff versus team. But when you call it their team, they know that you're an insider. So it really does help if you talk about working with their team versus their staff. So it's really good to just kind of understand that difference. New patient flow, it's pretty obvious, but it's good to know that if you are having a conversation with the dentist and if they're having any problems, you can always throw out the so how's your new patient flow? What's going on? And there's being able to speak that language really helps. But obviously, it's new patients coming in each month. And the reason that I wanted you to know the lifetime value of a new patient is because most dentists don't know the lifetime value of their patients. So if you let them know that on the low end, according to industry standards, it is about $8,000, and you can make that clear for them, then that's something that you get to pull. You get to talk about that. You can show them that you know the industry. And like I said, most of them don't know that because they don't pay attention to it. So it's helpful to be able to explain that. Now, I've used this. I keep trying to not use the term case, but in dentistry and orthodontics, they will talk about a new case, and that's when they have a very specific treatment. So for orthodontics, obviously they're going to be putting on braces or Invisalign, some type of orthodontic treatment, and they'll call that a case. So they might say, yeah, we had a great month. We started, 35 cases this month. And so what they're talking about are new patients. And dentists will do the same thing. And if they're going to talk about, oh, we just had this great case, and they might be talking about veneers, about dental implants. So it's important to just understand that if they're talking about a case, they're talking about a patient.
Okay.
Now, starts, especially in orthodontics, they're going to talk about new patient starts. So they'll switch between case and starts. So a new patient start is just another way of saying a case, but a lot of times they'll say it was a great month, we had X number of starts.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll kind of go back and forth. And that's going to be more orthodontic than dental. And just in case, I wanted to make sure you knew that if you're talking to someone and they said, well, I'm an associate, that means that they are essentially working for the current owner of the practice.
Okay.
And it's usually a doctor that owns the practice, but they're there to either help that doctor build their practice, and that's it. They're just, the doctor basically hired them. They're a W-2 employee, and they're there to help the doctor build the practice, and so that the owner doctor doesn't have to work as much. So sometimes they're there literally just because the doctor has opened a second practice. They hire a dentist as an associate and says, okay, great, I'm going to have you work in this practice, and I'm going to the other practice. And then the one that most associates will be, the reason they'll want to be an associate is because eventually they want to buy that practice.
Okay.
So I want to make sure you know that, again, if somebody's saying they're associate, that doesn't mean that they don't have good cash flow. It doesn't mean that they don't have a way to invest in real estate.
Right.
It just means they're not an owner of the practice. So it's important to know that difference.
Right. Okay.
All right. Any questions before we get to what they want?
Yeah. Hang on. We do have a few. Okay, it's from Loanne from Montreal. Hi, Loanne. Okay, loving the tips on use of language, patients first guests. And that's really, so Loanne's got it, guys. The reason we're going over this is when you're building rapport, like Brian mentioned earlier, there's a three-step process consumers use when they decide to do business with us. Number one is they want to feel like they know us. Number two is they want to feel like they like us. Number three is they want to feel like they trust us. And when you build rapport by speaking their language, it's much, much easier, number one, to build rapport. And number two is to achieve know us, like us, trust us. So thanks, Luann, for pointing that out. So Luann says, I'd like to work with dentists who see their clients as guests. Yeah, exactly. So if you know that guest is typically used by higher-end dentists who are serving more affluent clients, well, those are the guys you want. If you're an investor looking for funding, these are the guys you want to look to. If you're an agent looking for clients to buy properties, these are the guys you want to look to. Let's see here, Pablo. Okay, Pablo's asking, hey Gary, the numbers look great. What about the expenses and technology and new equipment? Does this affect their profits? It definitely does. I don't know if, Brian, if you have any figures on that, like, basically like internal rate of return. So if a dentist is making $150,000 a month in gross revenue, do you have a rough idea on a percentage basis what they're spending on expenses? I know it's going to vary between states and provinces. Also could vary. A dentist who has maybe just a few clients starting out, obviously their expense ratio is going to be higher. But somebody who's got like 4 offices, that's another thing I look for, Brian, too. Yeah. I always look for dentists that have more than one office, because that told me they're really entrepreneurial, thinking like a business person, and we love those kind of clients. So if you have that answer, I'll hold off on the next question.
Yeah, so I can tell you very specifically for orthodontists, on the low end, their overhead, I'm talking about all expenses, is about 35% on the low end, and on the high end, you're going to be at 70%. And
Wow.
those guys are usually new and they are working their way down. So right in the middle, usually around 45% is what most of them are operating, between 45 and 50%.
Yeah. You know, one thing I noticed too, Brian, is there's there's databases you can have access to that show you who has dentist licenses in your area. Like you can drill down state level, the county level. And the ones I've seen, actually, I'll just, one of the examples, one of the ones in Florida, I saw it in Florida, they actually gave you the date they got their license. So you can see if they've had their license between 3 and 5 years. That was sort of like a sweet spot. And then it also showed you the different addresses they practiced at, so you knew they had multiple offices. And we learned that, we're like, wow, let's go for those guys. They've been in practice 3 to 5 years. They've got their expense ratio down. They've got multiple offices. So I think what Paulo's getting at is, if we can identify those guys, like you just said, that the new guys are going to be kind of tough. But I bet somewhere between 3 and 5 years, they sort of hit a stride. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I'm just kind of guessing.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Most of them, right around that 5-year mark, is that's where things get really fun for them. The dental world right now, what you're going to be looking for are the ones that have really beautiful offices that are consistently marketing. So you're seeing their marketing everywhere that you look, and they have good reputations online. So in other words, you want to look for the ones that are actively promoting their practices, because they understand that in today's world, it's not about being a great dentist anymore. It's about being great at marketing. And the ones that market better get more patients, and the ones that are great dentists that don't market are dying on the vine.
Yeah.
So you really want to look at that. So I would suggest, if you look at ones that are they're engaged on Facebook. So I'm just trying to think of ways that I've used where I can kind of identify good targets. Mm-hmm. And if you've got somebody that is engaged on Facebook, that is in the local chamber of commerce, and all that stuff, you can just look up real fast. And you can find maybe some Google AdWords campaigns that are running, or even some Facebook campaigns running. Then you know that they get it, and they're probably bringing in a pretty nice patient flow. And if you add that to being 5 years or longer in practice, that's a pretty ideal market.
Yeah, I would agree. If you Google dentist in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, the ones that pop up in the first screen, typically the first 3 or 5, they definitely know what they or somebody who they're hiring knows what they're doing as far as SEO goes, keywords, key phrases, and how to pop up high on the list. So they're spending money to do that, and if they're doing that, they're probably getting more business. And those are the guys we want to approach, because they're business-minded, they're entrepreneurial, and they definitely typically want to have multiple streams of income, including, in most cases, real estate.
Yeah. And I think it's important to keep in mind that you need to educate them on real estate investing, because I was talking recently with an orthodontist that he's very successful, and he moved out of his house and moved into a new house and kept the old one for a rental, and then ended up having to buy another house for his mother-in-law, and was told not to make that a rental because that's not good for taxes. And I about lost my mind. Like, who gave you that advice? That is horrible advice. So, yeah, and so that they're used to talking with their accountants, their CPAs, who don't know anything about real estate, don't know anything about investing.
Yep.
So there's a massive amount of education that needs to be done first. You've probably heard that conversation where if you're trying to get into a market, think of it like walking into a bar. You don't walk in, see somebody that you think looks nice, not tap them on the shoulder and say, "You look nice, let's get married." You first say, "You look nice, can I buy you a drink?" And you have a conversation, and then you see if maybe you can have breakfast sometime, or coffee, and then maybe lunch, and then hopefully dinner. So you have to kind of walk through that process. But keep in mind that generally speaking, these guys and women they don't know anything about it, and they're being given lots of really bad advice.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and and here I am. I have a couple of rentals, and I know just enough to be dangerous, and so I'm like, dude, you need to find somebody who can help you. That is terrible advice.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other questions before I kind of talk about what kind of what they want?
Yeah, I think we're caught up now. Yeah, go ahead and we'll move forward, and we'll look for another natural break.
All right. Well, we've got lots of break. I mean, I really wanted to make sure that we went into that. And if there's anything else we wanted to dive into, please do let me know. The
Okay.
the first thing is, what do they want? They're just like everyone. They want more money. They want more time. They want security. But here's the thing: they want it done for them. This to me is probably the most important thing to understand about this market. If you're talking with a young dentist that's new and excited, they want to learn everything and they want to figure out if they can do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get past that sort of excitement phase and they're like, I just want someone to do it for me. And that is a real opportunity if you can give them sort of a turnkey package, because they really like that, especially the orthodontists. The orthodontists, because they're specialists and because they hire people to do very specific things in their office, they are used to having a specialist do things for them. So when I work with dentists, I have options where they can do a lot of the work themselves and we just help them along the way. But when I work with an orthodontist, that's not even an option. I do it for them because I know they're not going to do it, because they're going to want to have someone in their office just do it, and they're not going to do it well. So we don't even make that an option for orthodontists. So I think it's good to know that turning point, especially in the orthodontic world. And then after you've got a dentist that's been around for a while, they know better. They're just going to want someone to do it for them.
Right. Okay.
All right. So they are essentially just like everyone else. So let's talk about where you can find them. And then this is where I thought, if you want to dive deep, we can I can go into some deeper stuff here.
Okay.
So LinkedIn is a great place to find dentists and orthodontists. It is a very slow process to try to ferret out people that are interested in what you're talking about, but it is solid. You're going to be talking to some solid people, and if you do it right, you can have a pretty nice conversation through LinkedIn, and it's all very comfortable, because they don't feel like as long as you don't try to pressure them, they don't feel like they're being sold. They're just getting to know you through LinkedIn, and then eventually you can turn that into an appointment.
Right.
Google Ads, really hard to get attention these days. And as I was going through this, I thought, okay, if I were looking to sell investments to a particular target market, I was having a hard time coming up with a good list of keywords that you're going to want to be putting in there in order to get in touch with the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So that is hard, and it is expensive. One thing that I was just about to type that in there, and it looks like I didn't, but YouTube is still kind of a wide open option when it comes to running ads. So if you want to sort of farm an area and you're looking for dentists, dental, orthodontists, what have you, you can now make a short video, run that as a YouTube ad, and specifically target based on your location, age group, income. But you can really start targeting that. But in your video itself, you can say, attention dentists.
Mm-hmm.
If you are looking for a better return on investment, click here to learn more, or something along those lines. Because the cool thing about running a YouTube ad today is that if somebody doesn't watch 30 seconds or more of your video, you don't pay for it. Yeah. So if you've got about a 40-second video and you can cover most of what you want in that first 30 plus seconds, and they're not the right target for you, then it didn't cost you anything to get in front of them. And the best part is that we typically are getting around 3 to 5 cents per view. and that means
Wow.
they've watched 30 seconds or more.
Okay.
So the numbers are really exciting. So when I just need to get a big push, when I'm like, okay, well, let's just see what we can get, and we've got a tight budget, YouTube ads are a great way to go.
Yeah, that's a lot cheaper than Google ads. Well, I tell you what. So YouTube, we've used that before too, and I used when I was like 100% in production before I was teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go through properties, walk through them, give the numbers on the properties while I'm walking through them,
Mm-hmm.
post it on YouTube. I literally, you get, you know, I'd give him my Facebook, page, my website, email address. I would get contacts all over the place just from doing that because it was easier for people. They could watch it on their phone,
Yeah.
sitting in a traffic light, and in 30 seconds they've got it done. They see something they want, and they reach out to you. I love YouTube. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great way to go. And it's pretty exciting when you start looking at big numbers and you're getting your face and your message out in a massive way for hardly any money. So it's
Yep.
really fun. Facebook. Facebook is fast and targeted. And that's why you're probably hearing a lot of talk about Facebook marketing today. Most people don't realize that every little bit of information or detail that you put into your Facebook profile is not yours the moment you hit enter. It belongs to Facebook, and they sell it to people like me. So be cognizant of that. And everything that you like, share, comment on, that is also now owned by Facebook and sold to advertisers. So think through everything that you do on Facebook because it is all designed to get you in front of an ad and make a purchase. So what can we do? These are just some of the basics that you can target by age, gender, location, and we can discriminate between whether you live in a location or whether you just happen to be in a location. Because if you're on your phone, we'll know exactly where you are and we can market to you based on what you're walking by. Then, of course, there's income, and this one is really nice based on what you're all looking to do, that you want to be able to say, well, if somebody's not making more than X amount of money, I really don't want to show them my ad because they're going to waste my time. And you can do that. So you can be very clear about the income requirements. And what's amazing is people put that in there. I don't know about you, Gary, but I find it fascinating that people would put it in there.
Yeah.
You can, if you felt like it, and if you felt like there was a good market for you with recently divorced women over the age of 45, you can target those people and give them a specific ad. It's amazing what you can do. So you can do job titles. So if you're looking for dentists, you put in a bunch of job titles around dentists and dentistry, cosmetic dentists, so you can put that in there. Same with orthodontics, pediatric dentists. It's all available right in there. And then, of course, there's interests, things like ADA, the American Dental Association, or AAO, the American Association of Orthodontics, or CDA, the Cosmetic Dental Association. So if people are showing an interest in that, probably very likely that they are somewhere in that dental field. So it might be good to include that as well.
Right.
That is just a quick list of what you can target. I think that's a good place to take a pause if there are questions about that, because there's a lot that we can talk about, and I wasn't sure how much time we would have left. And
yeah. Let me check her. Can we have okay, Genevieve is asking, okay, that is very interesting. What are the options you offer to the dentist? And I think she means related to marketing, like what you just went over with us. Like I know if I was working with a dentist, if I'm looking for dentists, I would definitely use the interest, ADA, AAO, and CDA. Definitely income, okay?
Yep.
And also, again, look, I don't think you can do this in selection, but on their particular Facebook pages, if they had list multiple locations, that's another good indicator to me. But when you're doing marketing and advertising through Facebook, you can there's a lot more advanced stuff you can use. It's way beyond the scope of a 1-hour webinar. But I will tell you guys, once you dig into Facebook, you open up the first door, there's 10 other doors you can walk through, and you can go real deep into Facebook marketing and advertising. And the more specific you get, in your targeting, the better the results, because otherwise you could be casting a wide net to people all over Canada and U.S. It maybe you just need to focus on people in the Boston area, so you can do that. You can also do lookalike lists, target audiences, all kinds of really neat stuff. But it definitely, to me, I don't even do it myself, Brian. I actually pay people to do it because I know enough to know there's a whole lot I don't know. But anyways, back to Genevieve's question. I know what she's thinking. She's wanted to attract dentists, and she's an agent, and I can't remember, Genevieve, if you invest too, but I know you probably want to invest. So from her perspective, she's probably wondering, what do you use, what do you offer the dentists that they can use in their marketing, because that will probably help her look for those types of Facebook ads, or maybe even join their pages. She can friend the dentist pages in her area, which is Montreal, and then she would got all of their marketing and advertising. So if you could maybe touch on that for a second, that would be great.
Yeah, so you're absolutely on target, Gary. Is that absolutely like and comment on their Facebook pages. And if you're looking in your area, your backyard, so to speak, or you're going to farm a specific location, then go find those dentists in that area and look at their Facebook page. And if you're seeing a lot of activity on their Facebook page, that means they get social media, which means they get marketing. Because a lot of dentists, they're like, social media, you can't make any money on that. I don't want to deal with it. Well, they're in trouble. Because if you're not on social media, people think that you're closed, so that maybe you're not open anymore. I mean, it's fascinating to see what happens if you're not active on social media. So I would suggest, absolutely start looking at Facebook pages, connect with them a little bit, and then see if they are active. And by active, I mean they're posting at least a couple of times a week, and that they are responding to people that are posting, so that you can see what's going on. If they haven't posted in 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes you'll see it's been months. Move on. Is that they probably aren't doing a lot of marketing, which means that they're not going to be able to do a lot of investing. So what we actually, one of the most fun things that we do for our dental offices is Facebook marketing, where we offer, well, gosh, I have to tell you, the most fun thing we do is a birthday campaign where you get either free or heavily discounted whitening in the office, and it only shows to people that are having a birthday within a 7-day time frame. So we can run the exact same ad pretty much forever, and it doesn't lose interest because you only see the ad for 7 days. And we offer this great deal. They click on the ad. They decide to take advantage of it. Sorry, let me get back to. There we go. They decide to take advantage of it. They put in their name, email, and phone number, and then we immediately send a text message that says, "Hey, if you tap here, you can call and schedule right now, and we'll throw in, and then we offer something else." So that one is a lot of fun. And then when I was talking about some of the things that you can target, we target brides. So if somebody is newly engaged, they're a really great target for teeth whitening, and so they're perfect for the dentist. They're also really good for an orthodontist who is looking for Invisalign, because maybe we can do some teeth whitening at the orthodontic office. We can get their teeth straighter before their wedding, and they're not going to have braces for their pictures. Right. So there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do along that line. And we find that recently divorced women are also a really good target for orthodontists and dentists, because it's usually a time when they want to make themselves look better and feel better about themselves, and those particular people get to make, like orthodontists especially, their job is to make you smile and feel good about your smile. Yep. So it's pretty fun. The other thing that we do that is probably the most powerful, and I'll talk about this a little bit more if you'd like, I've got some slides on it, is reputation, where we make it so easy for people to leave reviews for those offices that we can build up their online reputation, so that when somebody goes and looks them up, they're going to look fantastic. fantastic. They're going to have reviews everywhere that we can possibly get a review, and then we make it so easy that their team doesn't have to do anything to get the review.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Now, here's what's funny, Gary, and you can tell me if you want me to talk about this. As I was putting this presentation together, and I said, well, I thought, okay, well, I'll show everyone a little bit about what we do with reputation. All of a sudden, it dawned on me that, well, if any of you want to get help getting your reputation improved, this works for real estate agents just as well as it does for dentists and orthodontists. And it hadn't even occurred to me because it's not my market. But if somebody would like to know about how we can do that for them, I'm happy to do like a $7 trial, and you can just try it out. Does it make sense to show everybody what it looks like?
Oh, yeah, these guys would love that. Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna try to go through this quickly. What do we got? About 7 minutes left here, Gary?
Yeah, we're good. 7 minutes, and we can, if it takes a little longer, that's fine. It's it's my own account, so we can stay as long as we want, and we've had them go on quite a bit sometimes. But
okay, all right. Well, I put this together, and that's why it just kind of struck me today when I thought, oh my God, you know, yes, dentists love this and it works great, but real estate agents could really do well with this as well. And I'll show you what I mean. So we call this our sign-in strategy. Because if you're an orthodontist or a dentist, it's really nice to just have this really easy way to get reviews from customers. So it's a way to build your lists, a way to get reviews, and then I'm going to show some case studies just real quick. And I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. So Gary, if I'm too fast, just let me know.
okay.
This is the really cool part, is that this particular strategy in businesses in general. Now, so you can take this with a grain of salt because it's not specific to real estate. But it has been shown to, in general, increase business by up to 19% by just asking customers, patients, clients one simple question. And I'm gonna make you wait for that question so that you'll stay. So the case studies, they're actually going to show you how we get results within 48 hours, 100% increase in online reviews, and no additional effort for you. And that is the really cool part. And then, of course, mobile versus desktop strategies. And obviously, everybody knows that mobile is where it's at today. So we've got to make sure that we're doing that and we're making it easy. So we look at the biggest shift in consumer buying in the last 100 years. This is what's really been sort of mind-boggling, and it is across the board. But you have to ask yourself, do customers trust your business? Do they trust you? Now, how many reviews does a consumer look up before making a decision? Gary, if you had to guess, what would you say that number would be?
I would say, I was going to say something, but I'm going to say maybe 3.
Yeah, you would think, but it's 10.
Wow.
This is for businesses in general. 10 reviews is what they're going to be looking up before making a decision. So how many reviews does a business need before a consumer will trust them? What's your guess on that? It's a little lower.
I have to move my panel. Hang on 1 second so I can see the right half of that. Okay, how many reviews does a business need before a customer can trust them? Now that may be more like around 7, I guess, possibly.
Yeah, so we're as low as 6 to 10. So what that's telling us is that if you don't have at least 6 reviews, they're not going to trust you. And if you don't have 10, then somebody who does is more likely to get the business.
Okay.
All right. This shocked me. This is from 2015, so this number isn't going down. But 97% of consumers between 18 and 34 read online reviews to judge a local business. Now, I've had people say, well, 18 to 34, that's pretty young. But here's the next statistic. 92% of consumers across the board now read online reviews for local businesses. That was amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. So reputation marketing, and you'll probably notice that I'm going to talk about reputation marketing, not management, because managing your reputation, yes, it's important, but you can't make money with it. Marketing your reputation, that's how you can make some money with it. So it's been proven to increase 19% of your business just by increasing half a star rating online. And that was from the Economic Journal. So that was another one that was a shocker. A half a star rating can have that big of a boost.
Yeah.
Now, And tell me if I need to go a little faster, Gary, because this stuff I just find fascinating. And if you feel like the, the room is like that's not all that interesting, just let me know. But this was really cool for me. The question is, who would you call first? The business that had an excellent 5-star reviews and a great reputation, the business that offered the cheapest service, or the business that came up first in the search results. Now, I used to spend most of my time on search engine optimization, and I was shocked to see that it was only 18% for the businesses that came up first in the search result.
Right.
So I have completely shifted where we put our effort, because now we put all of our all of our first level effort is on that reputation side, because it was such a huge number.
Right.
How does a business build their reputation on autopilot? Because if you've got to do a lot of work to get it, then it's no fun and it probably won't happen. So the answer is to get your prospects and customers to electronically sign in or out before you work with them, or if you're an orthodontist, it's on the way out. And so we just designed this thing to make it so simple that you just can't go wrong. But let me show you how this works. So if we had a 5-star strategy in place that you just started using all the time, then you'd know that it was giving the result that you needed. And this is designed to work on tablets, desktops, cell phones, anything that can connect to the internet. So this is the way that the flow goes, is that if you have your phone, let's say, and I'm going to shift it so that we can talk about sort of how it would work in the real estate world. If you are working with somebody and things are going great, or you're not sure how things are going, then you can just say, would you mind giving me your feedback kind of after we've had a chance to talk? I'd love to know how we did today. Usually the person says, yeah. Now, what you don't do is you don't ask, would you give me a review on Google? Because they're going to say, well, yeah, maybe, I don't know, because now you're asking them to do a lot of work. But if you say, can I get your feedback, or would you mind just giving me your opinion on how things went today? Most people will say yes, because they love sharing their opinions and feedback. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so you would just put in their name, email, phone number, and I don't care if we have their email. I really want their mobile phone, because this thing works best when it goes straight to their phone. So they would sign this little form, and you could do it for them. So you could just fill in their name and phone number, and click sign or sign out or whatever. We can make that little button say whatever we want, and then they get you get an email so that you know that it worked. And then you actually would be able to go log into this little clipboard, this customer relationship management clipboard, so you can keep track of who has said yes to this process and who hasn't. And then you start getting these reviews. We can export all this. We can track everything. You can check everything off, manage all of your contacts. But let me show you the customer experience, because this thing that's really more interesting. Is it that you would fill it out for them, or they could fill it out right on your phone? So you could just hand them your phone. And then they get a text message. Now, what's cool, Gary, is that this software can be set to send a text message instantly, or it can be set to send a text message in 2 hours or 2 days. So we can set this up at any moment. So depending on how you want to put together your strategy, we then adjust the software to match what you want to do. So when we work with a dentist, we always have them sign in, and then the patient gets this text message between 2 and 3 hours later, depending on the office. And once they get that text message, they click on the little link, and it says, would you recommend us? Yes or no,
Okay.
thank you. Cool?
Okay.
All right. Now, let's say they say, no, I would not recommend you. This is an opportunity for you to get real feedback and have people be able to vent and say whatever is on their mind, and then no one else has to ever see or hear it. But you get an immediate email and a text message saying, hey, you just got a negative review, you might want to do something about it. So you have an opportunity to head it off really, really early.
Okay.
And so that's what we call a negative feedback page. And then at the end, we're not going to obviously ask them for anything else after that. If they say yes, well, this is what's really cool, Gary, you're going to like this, is that if they're on an iPhone, they're going to get a little page that looks like this, where we'll say select your favorite directory, and they can choose Yelp, Yellow Pages, Yahoo, Google, Facebook. I mean, we have a huge list of directories that we can then send them to, and it will open up your listing where they can leave you a review. So we have this really cool technology, and I'm going to skip through this because here's what I want to show you is that if they are on an Android phone, and I'm going to skip through, if they're on an Android phone, actually it looks like, sorry, I lost that page. If they're on an Android phone, we actually are able to determine that they're on an Android, and then when they say yes, we will automatically look for their Google Map app. And if it's in there, we'll launch it, give them instructions on how to leave a review, and then take them directly to your listing. And if, let's say, for some reason they don't have the Google Map app, or let's say we need Yelp reviews because Yelp is more important right now because you have plenty of Google reviews. So we would have the software look for the Yelp listing, the Yelp app first. And if it finds it, it will launch that and then let you leave a review. And it will just kind of go down the line until it finds something that it can launch. So it's really, really fun to be able to do that because if, let's say, Gary, let's say you had a ton of Google reviews, but you don't have any on Yelp, well, you're kind of vulnerable right now because that means that if somebody says something negative about you on Yelp, they're the only voice that is being heard. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we get more and more Yelp reviews until we know that you're solid there and that if somebody were to say something negative, it will absolutely be outweighed by all the positive. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So, say again?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, super slick. So this is just a really quick campaign case study. 8 online reviews in 7 days, all done on autopilot through email and text messaging. So you don't have to go through all the numbers and stats here, but it is kind of cool just to see that in a very short period of time you can get these kinds of results, that it just works. So essentially on a mobile conversion, so I just wanted you to see this particular case study, there were 2,563 sign-ins. There were 1,292 clicks, meaning that they got the text message and they clicked through it, so 50% actually clicked through. On that first text, 54% clicked to recommend. On the second text, it was 26%. On the third text, it was 19%. And we can send up to 4. Now here's what's nice, Gary, is that if somebody clicks on that first text, we do not send the second, the third, or the fourth.
Okay.
And if they don't click on the first, but they do on the second, then the third and the fourth stop. So we don't keep on bugging them. All right, so let's look at these. Oh, looks like the same. So this is interesting because what we're showing is where we got the reviews. And we got 67% on Google, 19% on Yelp, and 14% on Facebook. And if we needed to shift that, we would just change up the order.
Right.
All right, oh, here was that slide that I was talking about where we have that, it looks for the app, and then it goes through a tutorial and it takes you right to your listing. So it's pretty slick. Yeah. I'm going to skip through this because I don't think you guys really need to see all these different ways that you can use it. But it is kind of nice to know that there are lots and lots of ways that you can use it. Just use your imagination on how you might be able to benefit from something like that.
So, well, the guys out there that had their licenses, that was, I've seen other tools, but I never saw one like that before. That was pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, we love this thing. It sings, and all you need to do is actually use it, and then we take care of the rest. It's really fun. So I said that I was going to answer the question of how do you increase your business by 19%? And the question, of course, is, will you sign in, please? And when we're talking with an orthodontist, we say, will you sign out, please? And for you, it would be, would you mind giving me your feedback?
Okay.
And that's it. So we don't like the idea, and this is what we used to do. We used to train staff, train people on how to ask for reviews and how to get them and how to feel comfortable, and we would role play. And then we figured out this new way of doing it where you don't have to do a thing.
Yeah.
Just, would you mind giving me your feedback? Great. That's it.
And I can see where people would be more inclined to respond affirmatively to this than other techniques to get what we call testimonials, but essentially feedback. I mean, for all the people out here who's got their license, I don't know where you got this, or did you build this yourself, Brian, or did you have somebody build it for you? How'd you?
Yeah, we had it. So there's a development team that I like working with, and they build really, really cool stuff. So we white label it, And
Cool.
and what's great is that means that when something goes wrong, and eventually, inevitably, there will be technical issues as we go, but
Uh-huh.
there's a development team that I reach out to, and then they go to work and fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really, really nice. But
Is it?
this is a fun one. We really love doing this for our offices. So if anyone wants to try it, let me know, and we'll what we can do is Gary, for your people, we would do just a $7 trial.
Okay.
And the reason that I don't do a free trial is because I find that if you don't put anything in, you don't use it.
Yeah. Well, what's the old saying? What's the value of free?
Right.
Free. Yeah. People.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's very generous. And I didn't realize you were going to do that. So I appreciate you. And that's really. I mean, I appreciate you doing that for $7. That's pretty awesome. And it was the guys I've used guys out. You're in Colorado, right? In the Denver area.
Yes.
There's a company out there. I can't remember their name, but they're really good at developing stuff like this. I just can't think of the name right now. But in any case, that was a pretty awesome for everybody who's on here tonight, and you have a license or you like to get feedback or testimonials to put on your Facebook pages or in your material like booklets to get funding from investors or investors who want to buy properties. This is a great way to get some quick testimonials from your sphere. This is pretty awesome. So how do they? I mean, by the way, Brian, I appreciate you sharing everything. You shared like the words to use, a language that you use when you're dealing with dentists.
Yeah.
How do you locate them? And in this at the end here, I didn't. This is pretty cool. Well, how can people? Do you have a website people can go to get more information? Maybe check out what you're doing for
Yeah.
your tribe, the dentists, and they can. I mean, maybe they can send you some referrals too, for that matter.
Yeah. So I'm going to put my. It's funny. I was putting this together and I forgot the most important thing, which would be my contact information.
Okay.
Oops. So that's my email and that's my phone number.
Okay.
Now this phone number rings all of my numbers at once. So if you call that number and I don't pick up, it's probably because I'm either doing something like this or there's no way for me to pick up. But it does ring everything at once, and I will get back to you.
Okay.
And if you want to kind of see, I just put this together, toplinedental.com, and it goes through some of the stuff that we do for the Facebook marketing, and you can kind of see that if you want to send anyone there.
Yeah.
And Topline Reputation. Oops. That was the other one, toplinereputation.com.
Okay.
Where you can actually run this. This is really fun. I'll show you this real quick.
Okay.
So this is, oh no, did I spell it wrong? Uh-oh.
So it's Topline Dental and Topline Reputation. Is that right? Or
Yeah. So Topline, that's funny. So this is my login, but yeah, looks like I've got to fix the Topline Reputation.com. Yeah, it looks like I got to fix it because it is pulling the rep reports. That's weird.
but the first one was Topline Dental. That's what you're saying. That's what you can show. People can see firsthand a lot of what you're doing with Facebook and all that on Topline Dental.
Yeah, so you can go to Topline Dental and see kind of how all that stuff works.
Okay.
You can see
There it is.
my family there. But this will kind of give you an idea of what we do on the Facebook side, and this video kind of walks through the basics, and you can see kind of some of our clients, what they're saying. So this is just a really quick one. And then there's, if you want to see more, so then there's toplinemanagement.com, which is the sort of the overarching. It's got all the information, so you can see what we do for reputation. And this one is fun. Let me see, Topline. So you can pull yourself up if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listed in Google, it's going to pull you up. And then you put your number in here and you say, get my report.
Aha.
Yeah. And you can pull up this report anytime you want. It's all free, and we're not going to all start, we're not going to send you 200 emails and call you 20 times a day. And so if you want to fill this out, or if you even want to check out somebody that you know, This is what it's doing right now is it is going through and it's scanning all of the different online systems where people can leave reviews, and it's trying to find out how you're looking. And
Okay.
so, what it just did was it pulled up mine, so you can see Google, Bing, Yahoo. It's pulling up my address, my phone number. It's telling you whether it's correct or incorrect. Like for Yahoo, for whatever reason, they keep changing it to incorporated instead of Inc. And so it shows it as incorrect. But you can see you're getting a grade. So obviously, video is a big part of what we do. So I get an A.
Okay.
But so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on. Now I don't push reviews for myself, and it's really funny because it's like don't judge the cobbler by his shoes.
Yeah.
Because you just forget to do it for yourself. But I really should. It's so darn easy. And then obviously search engines we do a lot of videos. So website we have a lot of video, YouTube, so it's all over there. So it just kind of gives you a snapshot. So if you want to pull yours up, you can certainly do that.
So this is through Top Line Reputation? Is that what it's called?
This is if you just go to toplinemanagement.com.
Oh, gotcha. Top Line Management. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, by
So
the way,
my main website.
Okay.
Oops. Toplinemanagement.com, and there's that little form right in the middle.
Okay.
And I'll just pull that up here. Yeah. So right there, you just put your business name, put your phone number. And if you're in Canada, click Canada.
Okay.
And then get your report, and it'll pull up a free report for you. And you can do it for anybody and everybody. So and like I said, if you do it for somebody else, we're not going to all of a sudden start calling and bugging them. It's just it goes into our system, and then we'll follow up if somebody asks us to. We will follow up. But generally speaking, don't hesitate to fill that out, and it's all free.
Okay. Hey, by the way, for everybody watching this, whether it's live or you're getting it in recorded mode, the reason why this is important, just to give an example, real world example, one of my colleagues from years ago focused on chiropractors, and he got so immersed in their business and their language and the words they were using and the just everything about their businesses and even how they spent their time, what they did for fun. He went to their conferences. He said it actually got to the point where over years he was like a regular person seen at all the events. They just assumed he was a chiropractor. He was that good, and he got all the business. And I know, Brian, you're looking to break into the chiropractor sphere also. So we want to obviously wish you luck with that and send you our names of our chiropractors and their addresses and phone numbers and all that. But that's really important, yeah, because I know for me personally, I mean, over the years I've focused on a couple different groups that I was connected to, like engineers, for example, military, teachers, and I did really well because I took the time to find out how are they speaking to each other, what resonates with them, because you're gonna get to know you, like you, trust you much more quickly by doing that. And one of the things I've been wanting to do is break into the dental world. I don't know if there's that lets you join their organizations as like a vendor or supplier or anything, but the chiropractors did, and it was pretty very profitable. So so I appreciate you doing all this and showing us this at the end. That was a nice extra added bonus,
Yeah, I'm happy to help. And if you think it's valuable, definitely take me up on the offer. And the reason that I like to offer it is because I want you to see if it works for you or not. And if it works for you, great, and we'll figure out a good way for you to move forward with it. And if it doesn't, no harm done. And I won't be upset. My feelings won't be hurt. And I just want to see if it's going to be valuable for you.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to just do one more look at questions here. It looks like we got a little bit of software here at the end. Hang on one second. Let's see. Okay, Genevieve. Okay, we think we got her. She's saying thank you. Okay, this is from Fassel. Hey, Fassel. Fassel's from the Garden State of New Jersey. Okay, does the review software work with Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook, Google, that type of thing? I'm not sure how much. Okay, good.
So we actually we have specific different targets. So that's as I was setting up a new client, and I have to tell it what the market is. So I was putting in that it was medical, and then I went, oh wait, there's all kinds of stuff in here that I never even look at. I'm just so used to targeting dentists and orthodontists. So yeah, we have access to just about all of it. So if you want some specifics, just reach out to me, shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and I'll be able to tell you exactly which ones specific to real estate we can connect with.
Okay, cool. And here's Guadalupe is asking, what is that software? I guess that was that you were saying you contract out with those developers. I guess they're in Colorado that do that. So I don't know if it's proprietary or they can get it themselves.
If like I said, give me a call if you want to do it yourself and invest in the software. Shoot me an email, give me a call. It's generally speaking, because I have larger numbers, it's cheaper to go through me, but I'm happy to get the access if that's what you want to do.
Okay. Deborah Oxley is asking, okay, what stage would you ask for this within an agent's business? Sometimes you may have a client, or sometimes you may, Deb, you may have been cut off there, but Deb, I would say it's never too early to start doing this. You definitely, I mean, really from day one, everybody knows somebody, and if you're in any type of sales business, you've always got 2 or more people that you know. So you definitely want to. This isn't the kind of thing you wait on. I mean, Brian, would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would suggest. Well, there's 2 ways to look at it. Number one is to right off the bat, you ask if it's okay to get their feedback, and again, don't ask for review. Ask for their opinion or their feedback on your meeting today. But the second most important time is when they are smiling and happy and things have gone really well. There is no better time to ask for that feedback. And then once they give you that feedback, ask for those referrals. It's just, there's no better time when that happens. And so, like when I work with an orthodontist, and they take off their braces, and they take off their braces, they're smiling, everything is great and fun, they sing songs, they give them balloons and a cake, and they don't ask for a review. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You have to do that.
Yeah. They're saying she's interested. Guadalupe is saying, got it. Okay. Luann's asking, how long is the $7 trial? Yeah, 2 weeks, is that right?
Yeah. So we'll do 14 days, and it gives you a chance to give it a shot, give it a roll, and if you get a bunch of reviews and you don't want to do it anymore, no problem. The reviews are yours to keep forever, and they're going to go out. We can connect them to Facebook, to Yelp, to Google, pretty much just about anywhere. So go for it.
Okay. And Luann's just saying she's in the process of getting her realtor's license, but she's definitely interested. She's a great. I know her through a colleague of mine named Brock Thomas, and a awesome group of people from all over. They're literally from California to New Jersey and Massachusetts up into Montreal. It's an awesome group of people that she's part of there. Okay, this is Guadalupe. Yes, that was pretty cool. Any recommendation to use that? Why would Guadalupe? I would use that first for yourself, and see how you're ranking there, and then I would give Brian a call, honestly. Because he knows way more about this. Brian knows way more about this than certainly I do. Okay, this is Luann. She's saying, thank you so much, Brian. I have to go, but I will listen to the rest of the recording.
Great.
So much valuable information. Everybody's saying, thank you. So definitely,
Great.
Brian, I know we're running over here, but man, I tell you what, that was really super cool of you to take your time to do this, and I know it's now getting to be supper time where you are.
Sure.
And
before we jump off here, can I ask to get the group's opinion on something?
Absolutely, yeah. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Because I think this might be kind of fun. I'm going to see if I can't find this real quick. One of the things that we have just started playing around with is the ability to do what we call expose videos. I was hoping I could pull one up. I'm sure I've got one open here somewhere. Yes, I do. All right, let me know if you can see this video.
It's good. Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna play. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. It's about 3 minutes long, but I want you to just get a feel for the beginning here.
When it comes to finding a great dentist today, it's not easy. With so many choices in your community, how do you find the best dentist for your family? We caught up with a local dental expert to find their insights on what to look for when finding a great dentist, so you can keep your pearly whites shining bright.
Frequently, yes.
Okay, so the reason I would love to get everyone's feedback on this is because we can do this for the real estate industry as well. So the idea is that we have this very professional intro. We actually have a professional actress that talks about real estate, and then you do an interview, and you are then seen here as the expert where you're interviewed. You've got the lower third, phone number, website, all of that, and you can make that as long or as short as you want, and then it comes back in here, and then she closes it up so that it feels like you were interviewed on TV, but it's going to be on YouTube, your website, Facebook, anywhere that you want it. What would you say is the value of that, or is that something that would be of value, or is that not all that worthwhile?
No, we can definitely. I mean, for those on the webinar that have their license, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they could. There's different aspects to marketing and advertising and branding and reputation building, and this is something that goes in, sort of kind of rides the fence between marketing and branding, because when people see you on there like this, it automatically elevates their credibility, and also it gives them contact information and some content in a short video, so that they have a reason to it's basically called call to action, to get this report, call here, click here, visit here. I like it because of that, because it accomplishes two things: a call to action, which is in marketing, and also a branding booster,
Yeah.
So I have no idea what that stuff costs. I know I see it a lot, and I've had people do it for me before, but I couldn't, I know there's guys that charge, 300, there's guys that charge 5,000, 10,000, it's just amazing that it runs the gamut,
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And if anyone is interested in doing this, so we're doing this. We're just starting to do this for the dental and orthodontic world, and for dentists, it's really easy because we've got 12 different topics that we can easily talk about, and it's all built into this video system. And so for real estate, we actually do have one built into the system. And if somebody is interested in it, reach out to me, let me know. And we can actually, what I've done in the past is that I do interviews via Google Hangouts or YouTube Live.
Okay.
And we record the whole thing, I pull it down, edit it, pop it into the software, and then you've got the video. And we can do that. So like you said, I'm at that $300 range right now. And if somebody wanted to do it for real estate, I have not done real estate before, so we would do that at just my cost, and it's $199, and give it a shot. And so I was curious. I didn't know if this would be of high value or what, but regardless, if somebody feels like that would be worthwhile, let me know, and I'd be happy to. It'd be really fun to see how that works out.
Well, if you said $199, I'm not an expert in this stuff, guys, but I can tell you from what I've seen, that is like a bargain. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, we're going to be charging a heck of a lot more for the dentists.
Yeah.
But I was thrilled to be able to do this for you guys. I love doing this stuff. So if there's value there and I can help you out, I'd love to do it.
Okay. Well, here's one more question from Denise Sanger. Hey, Denise, how are you? And Denise asking, okay, very interesting Expo, how would the logistics work for creating the video local, remotely? I guess it's all done online, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I would do it remotely, where we would actually. So this is up to you. So if we do it remotely, then there's no extra fees at all. So the 199 is it.
Yeah.
And so what we would do it so that we would have a conversation online. I would record that whole thing, and then I would edit it and then put it right into the video. If you wanted a higher level version, then I have some tricks of how to get very inexpensive, high quality videographers into your offices.
Hmm.
Uh, but it is going to cost more because you'd have to pay them.
Right.
But and I'll give you the quick insight. Is essentially what I do is, like, outside of wedding season, you go and look for a wedding videographer. Go to page 2 or 3 of Google for a wedding videographer, and ask them if they'd be willing to do it in the middle of the week when there's no chance that they're doing a wedding, and ask them if they can do let's say a 2 or 3 hour shoot, and what they would charge, and you'd be amazed at how little they would charge because they've got nothing to do.
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Hey, Brian, I just pulled my panel back over so I could show them your panel that has your email address and phone number. So, guys, just to recap, it's brian@toplinemanagement.com. Number is 720-989-1932. And the 3 websites he was showing earlier are toplinedental.com, toplinereputation.com, and toplinemanagement.com. So, hey, Brian, any final words of wisdom you can share with the group before we call today? And by the way, thank you once again for doing this, man. That was pretty awesome. That was really exceptional for you. Yeah.
No, thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity. And Gary, thanks for inviting me to do this. I love doing it. And I think the final word of advice is that this industry is full of great, fun people. So go for it. It's really a great industry to be a part of.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, well, listen, Brian, I hope you have an awesome rest of the week, and for everybody else online, for all of you, God bless you and your families. I hope you have a great weekend coming up. For those of you who are in the Toronto area, come on out to Ilderton this weekend because there's a great annual fair. It's just a good old-fashioned farmers fair. Some of you may have been to it. I'll be there. I'll look for you. I'll be the guy hopefully judging all the pie contests. So, in any case, for everybody else, I will see you. For those of you in Pennsylvania, I will see you next week. Everybody in Toronto, I'll be seeing you this week. And Brian, I look forward to seeing you next time down in Florida, man.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, you guys take care and have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.